The civilization of the ancient Israelites is a story shaped by history, tradition, and archaeology. According to the Bible, Abraham, the father of the Israelites, was called by God to leave Ur in modern-day Iraq and settle in Canaan. Modern scholarship, however, indicates that the Israelites developed from within Canaan itself, reflecting the late Bronze Age Levant, a landscape of city-states, mobile pastoral groups, and long-distance trade under Egyptian influence. These patriarchal traditions reflect the semi-nomadic lifestyles present in the region. Before Israel emerged, Canaan was a mosaic of city-states such as Hazor, Megiddo, Lachish, and Gezer, vassals of New Kingdom Egypt. Egyptian control shaped political life through garrisons, taxes, and correspondence, most notably the Amarna letters. Around 1200 BCE, the collapse of Egyptian hegemony created a power vacuum, producing social disruption that allowed new identities, including Israel, to form. Archaeology shows that the Israelites emerged internally from Canaanite society. The central highlands of Canaan, previously sparsely populated, saw the rise of small, unfortified agricultural villages. These early Iron Age settlements display continuity with Canaanite material culture, pottery, household tools, and architecture, but also exhibit distinct markers. Pig bones are nearly absent across hundreds of highland sites, signaling a deliberate cultural boundary. The four-room house became a common architectural layout, emblematic of early Israelite communities. These villages suggest a population experimenting with rural, kin-based, and relatively egalitarian social structures, in contrast to the palace-centered Canaanite cities. Early Israel developed alongside other regional powers, including the Philistines on the coastal plain and Transjordanian groups like Moab and Ammon. The earliest external reference to Israel comes from the Merneptah Stele, an Egyptian inscription from around 1208 BCE, which states, "Israel is laid waste, its seed is no more," confirming Israel's presence in Canaan. As the Iron Age progressed, highland villages expanded into interconnected chiefdoms, with political centralization visible in fortifications and administrative structures. Biblical tradition recounts Israel's unification under King Saul, followed by King David, and then King Solomon. Solomon's death around 931 BCE led to the division of the kingdom into northern Israel and southern Judah. While contemporary archaeological evidence for these monarchs is lacking, external inscriptions corroborate the existence of these kingdoms. The Mesha Stele, erected by King Mesha of Moab around 840 BCE, commemorates his victories over Israel, describing the oppression by King Omri and his son, and recording the capture of towns and spoils, including vessels of Yahweh. It reads, "Omri, king of Israel, oppressed Moab, and his son followed him, and he also said, 'I will oppress Moab.' But Chemosh said to me, 'Go, take Nebo from Israel.' So I went in the night and fought against it from the break of dawn until noon, and I took it and slew all of them, 7,000 men, boys, women, and girls, for I had devoted them to destruction for the god Ashtar Chemosh. And I took from there the vessels of Yahweh, and I dragged them before Chemosh." This aligns with biblical accounts in 2 Kings chapter 3, 4-27 of Mesha's rebellion during the reign of Jehoram of Israel. Israel, with its capital eventually at Samaria, became the larger and economically stronger of the two kingdoms. Fertile land, trade routes, and diplomatic alliances enabled it to emerge as a regional power. The Omride dynasty left substantial archaeological evidence, including administrative buildings, carved ivory panels, and fortifications. Meanwhile, Judah consolidated its religious and dynastic identity around Jerusalem, maintaining the Davidic line and centralizing worship in the temple. By the 9th century BCE, extra-biblical inscriptions further detail Israel and Judah's conflicts. The Tel Dan Stele, dating to roughly 850–800 BCE, references the House of David and describes military campaigns by Hazael of Aram Damascus against Israel and Judah. The stele reads, "I killed several kings and their sons, and I cut down some of their people. I killed Ahaziah, king of Judah, and I set his towns on fire. I killed the king of Israel and his people. I set up my throne over Aram, and the house of David will be broken." The black obelisk of Shalmaneser III, from around 825 BCE, depicts King Jehu of Israel paying tribute to Assyria, with an inscription that reads, "Jehu of the house of Omri bowed. I received from him silver, gold, a golden bowl, a golden goblet, golden vessels, bronze vessels, vessels of diverse kinds, and a tribute of him yearly," confirming biblical accounts of Jehu's reign and Israel's interaction with regional powers. Israel's political stability was increasingly threatened by Assyrian expansion. Tiglath-Pileser III, king of Assyria, campaigned in the Levant beginning around 738 BCE. Inscriptions record the capture of cities such as Ijon, Abel-Beth-Makkah, Janoah, Kedesh, Hazor, and the deportation of their inhabitants to Assyria, aligning precisely with the biblical account in 2 Kings 15:29. The Kalhu Summary Inscription 4, circa 730 BCE, and a wall slab fragment containing royal inscription reads, "The city of Gilead and the city of Abel, which are the border of Bit-Humriah, I annexed to Assyria. I placed eunuchs over them as governors." In the days of King Pekah of Israel, Tiglath-Pileser of Assyria came and captured Ijon, Abel-Beth-Makkah, Janoah, Kedesh, Hazor, Gilead, Galilee, the entire region of Naphtali, and he deported the inhabitants to Assyria. But-Humri, house of Omri, Israel, I utterly demolished during my former campaigns. These campaigns weakened Israel's internal administration and contributed to dynastic instability. The northern kingdom ultimately fell in 722 BCE under Sargon II. Assyrian inscriptions document the siege of Samaria, the deportation of approximately 27,290 inhabitants, and the resettlement of populations from Babylon, Cutha, Ava, Hamath, and Sepharvaim. Archaeological evidence confirms destruction layers, abandoned settlements, and the introduction of non-Israelite material culture, corroborating the biblical account in 2 Kings chapter 17. Throughout this period, Israel transformed from scattered highland villages into organized chiefdoms and finally into a centralized kingdom recognized by neighboring states. Archaeology and inscriptions, from the Merneptah Stele to the Tel Dan Stele and the Black Obelisk, corroborate biblical narratives showing political consolidation, economic development, and regional interaction. The history of ancient Israel illustrates the complex interplay of culture, politics, and identity in the ancient Near East. From internal social evolution within Canaan to the pressures of Egyptian and Assyrian imperialism, the Israelites forged a distinct identity. Their legacy, preserved in both material culture and tradition, would resonate across millennia in history, religion, and culture.
Spartans! What is your profession?